Hello everyone, my name is Laura, this is my channel Laura's Little Library, and welcome to today's video, which is part 2 to my most anticipated books of 2025. So late last year at the end of 2024, I released part 1 of this video of the most anticipated reads up until about June, July. Well, now I've got another list of books here that go up until the beginning of October for some of the anticipated reads I have that are coming out at the end of spring, during summer, and early fall, and there will probably be a part 3 to this video much later in the summer for the books coming out at the end of the year. So let's dive into some of the books. I am so excited that they are coming out and I cannot wait to pick them up. First up, I have a note in part 1 of this video series. I had said that the Baby Dragon Cafe was going to be published in January, I believe, but when I went to the bookstore to pick up my own copy, I was alerted that the publishing date either got pushed back or it was, what most likely I think it was that it was going to be self-published but then was picked up by a publisher, and so she told me that the new release date for the Baby Dragon Cafe is actually July 1st. So I am still waiting for that to come. I am really excited. It's going to be such a fun, cozy, it's a baby dragon cafe. Think like Cat Cafe, but with baby dragons. So there's an update on that one. Moving on, we have The Blood Phoenix by Amber Chen, and this is set to come out June 17. This is the second book after the first book of Jade and Dragons, which I have read this year and I enjoyed. You're following your main character whose father was an engineer and then he gets mysteriously murdered. So his daughter poses as one of her brothers to join this elite academy to be trained as an engineer in order to join the guild. And the first book left off on such an interesting cliffhanger. Like, it's not one of those like climax action and then you're done. It was like you can breathe a moment, but it's not settled. So the second book is coming out on June 17 and I am very excited to pick that one up as well. Moving into July already, we have a book called The Griffin King, and this is by Sarah Omer, and this is the first book in a brand new trilogy that is coming out. And like I said, it's coming out July 8th. And so this is Southwest Asian inspired. It's actually inspired by Turkic culture and Turkic people group culture in Southwest Asia. So you are following kind of two main characters. One is like this warlord who slayed a griffin at a young age and has a lot of success taking over various territory, and they believe him to be God blessed. And so he is going to take over this new territory that is a huge thing for him, and one of the higher up women in that territory like wants to fight him or something, wants to resist, and she is believed to be goddess blessed as well. But in the end, I think they end up teaming up because monsters and creatures start to attack the land. So I don't know if they're teaming up or if it's just like there are two things that each of them needs to fight against. So very excited for that one. I'm very intrigued to see the mythological elements into this political power story. And I'm really excited that it's Southwest Asian with Turkic culture in it. I have not read near as much fantasy mythology with those influences, so I am really excited for this. On July 15, we've got like 3 different books coming out on July 15. So the first one I'm going to talk about is The Nightshade God by Hannah Witten. So The Nightshade God is the third and I think final book in the trilogy for the Foxglove King. So this is the first one. The second one is The Hemlock Queen, so The Nightshade God is the third one. So if you haven't read it, I would obviously recommend picking this up. You're following Laura, who's the main character. I think there's a bit of a romance triangle, and it's your romantasy. So if that is your vibe, pick this up because the third one is coming out July 15. The second book coming out on July 15 is A Witch's Guide to Magical Inkeeping, and this is by Sangu Mandana. This is the author who wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This book is separate, like it's not a series, it is a standalone, but it is kind of the same world, the same vibe. So you have a main character who actually lost all of her magic. She used to be a very powerful witch. She was actually able to raise, I think, her aunt from the dead, and so but she loses all of her magic, so she's helping, I believe, the same aunt run a magical inn, and then you have this man who comes in and he is going to help her get her magic back. But it seems like it's going to be like very cozy romance, a lot like the other book was, so I'm excited for this one to come out because it's magical Inkeeping. How fun. And the final book also coming out on July 15 that I'm super excited for is Sarah Beth Durst's new book, and this is the Enchanted Greenhouse. So again, similar of how it looks like it's connected to the spell shop, but it is a separate standalone. However, in the Enchanted Greenhouse, we are actually following the creator of Kaz the Spider Plant. We are following her story because, as we know from the first book, Kaz is a sentient spider plant who was created, and his creator was punished for creating him. And so this book actually follows her story. She does get punished, but then something funny kind of happens and she ends up waking up on this island in this greenhouse, and there's this grumpy gardener and he's like gonna help her adjust to human life again, and she works in the greenhouse. So again, very cozy vibes, very like natural kind of witchy vibes, and I think it's gonna be Grumpy Sunshine. I mean, we know we have the grumpy gardener, but I don't know if our main character is Sunshine, but I'm kind of hoping for Grumpy Sunshine. So that one is also coming out and I cannot wait. Then moving on to July 22, we have a book called The Library at Hellborn, and this is by Cassandra Caw. This is a dark academia where you are following this character who goes to a school where it's all the kids who bring on the apocalypse and all the ones who end the world. So they're kind of like villain in the making type kids, or kids with like dark magic, things like that. And so she goes to the school, she studies there, and I believe we're actually following her graduation day. In the synopsis, it talked about how it's the graduation day and they've all been reformed and they're not going to be evil or whatever. And then all of a sudden, all the faculty and staff turn on them and it becomes a bloodbath, and her friends are held up in the library just trying to stay alive. So I'm very intrigued because normally with the dark academia, you're like starting school, you're going through your first year or whatever it is of the school, but with this one it's graduation day already, and it said it's good for fans of A Deadly Education, which I adored. So, and I can definitely see that with the third book being graduation day and they have to survive basically. So I cannot wait for that one to come out. I am so incredibly excited, and I just love dark academia. Still in July, the last book in July, on the 29th of July, we have Glorious Rivals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the second book after The Grandest Game. Jennifer Lynn Barnes is the one who's written all of the like the Hawthorne brothers, the Inheritance games. She wrote the Inheritance games trilogy, and now she's working on her next trilogy series called The Grandest Game, which follows the original trilogy. So if you're not in the Jennifer Lynn Barnes like saga of the Inheritance games world, then this probably doesn't mean too much to you, other than you should probably read it because I'm still excited for all of the new books coming out. So if you haven't picked it up yet, you totally should. And the next one is coming out at the end of July, and I'm very intrigued. I remember when the first book ended, I was confused because I was like, I need more. I can't believe this is done. And then I realized, oh duh, it's a series. Of course it's gonna end, and then there's gonna be another book. But like, oh, I was so frustrated when it ended. I just wanted to keep reading. I have one book currently that I'm excited about in August. There will probably be more books announced when we get closer to the end of the summer. But on August 7th is An Accomplice to the Villain, and this is by Hannah Nicole Mayer. Hannah Nicole Mayer has written this, I think this is the third book in the series. I don't know if it's the third book and final, like it's a trilogy, or if it's a longer series or saga or whatever, but I know it's based off of her TikTok storytelling series premise thing. So it's your basic, like, it's your medieval, you're following the villain, and the villain's like secretary, his assistant technically, and they're kind of like very slow burn romance. Oh my gosh. But I loved the first book, I really loved the second book, and now this third book is coming out in August, and I cannot wait. I know I'm saying that about all these books, but that's the whole point of the video, right? Is books that I'm excited that are coming out soon. and I'm sharing with you so you can be excited with me. So Hannah Nicole Mayer's third book in her very, very comical apprentice, assistant, and now accomplice to the villain is coming out. Now, on September 23rd, we are getting Tricia Levenseller's new book, What Fury Brings. Tricia Levenseller is one of my all-time favorite authors. I love how she writes fantasy and romantasy. Every book of hers has just hit me in a different way. And they're just perfect in their own way. Like, she tends to do either standalones or short series, duologies, like she did Blade of Secrets duology, where you're following a blacksmith who has anxiety but has to go on this grand adventure, and The Shadows Between Us, which is a very strong feminine romantasy duology. I think we have 2 of them right now. There could be more. No, I think it's just the 2 of them. But now we have What Fury Brings coming out September 23rd, and this follows a future queen in a kingdom where there are very few men in this kingdom. So if a woman wants to get married and has a husband, she has to go kidnap one from a neighboring kingdom, which obviously is not super great, A, because there aren't any men in the kingdom, and also B, because you have to kidnap a husband. I know that in our real world, bride napping is a huge issue in some places, and that is something that I have been quite privy to in the past, and so I'm a little bit worried about that aspect of it. I don't want it to glorify or romanticize kidnapping a marriage partner, because that is something our world actually has in some places, and it's not great, but that tradition does stem from something that is not actually as bad as it is today. Like, today it's okay, I am digressing into bride napping, but this book, we have a queen, or somebody who is in line for queen, but she's got a sister, and so she kind of feels like she needs to win the throne or something like that by kidnapping the best husband, and she's got this prince in mind. There's a prince of a neighboring kingdom who is attractive to look at but very quiet, feels like he's kind of a pushover, so she thinks he's the perfect candidate to kidnap and turn into her husband. Except she kidnaps the wrong brother, because you go to, on the second half of the synopsis, it gives a prince who is about to take over his kingdom. He's got this younger brother that nobody really cares about, and he's getting ready. He hates what's happening with the other kingdoms. Next thing you know, he's kidnapped, and I'm like, oh, that is the wrong brother than who I'm sure she meant to kidnap to be her husband to help her rule. So this is going to be very interesting, very entertaining. They're not going to get along, I don't think. I am just so excited to see how this happens. And because I love Tricia Levenseller, I am trusting her that she will write a good book. And especially when it deals with a topic like bride napping, but with men. So, oh my word. I have been waiting for a new Tricia Levenseller book for so long. I'm so excited. It is actually here. Ooh. The final book that I'm excited for that is coming out this year in 2025 comes out on October 7, and it is Holly by Adeline Grace. So Adeline Grace wrote the Belladonna trilogy right here, so Belladonna, Foxglove, and Wisteria. This book is book number 3.5. It's not making the trilogy a series as like a 4th book would. This is 3.5. This might even be a novella. I'm not sure it's a full-fledged novel. I kind of get the feeling it's a novella, but it's called Holly because it is a holiday story. So you're following the 4 main characters from this trilogy, and it's the holidays. They're getting together for the holidays, except that Blythe and Eris are having a struggle with monsters on their property or something like that, and so they're trying to get everything under control so that they have a nice holiday with Blair and Death, I think are their names. I'm terrible with character names. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so it's 3.5. It's like a novella. It's like a little companion just to give us another holiday story with these characters that we love from the trilogy. So there's also that coming out October 7th. So those are all the books that I know of right now. Like I said, there will be a part 3 to this video with books coming out more in the fall and to the end of 2025. So probably be around, there might be more books from August and September until December. So that video will probably be coming out around July or August. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below some of the books that you are really excited for coming up this year, if there are any of the ones that I mentioned, or if there are books that I didn't mention that you're like, this book is coming out in a couple months, you gotta check it out, I'm so excited. Let me know in the comments below. I also have other bookish social media linked down below that you can follow me there. That's typically where I do a lot of, I'm going to the bookstore and I'm picking up this book, and where I give reviews of books that I've read and things like that. So definitely be sure to follow me there, especially on my Bookstagram. And if you like bookish YouTube like this, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified. I am posting videos every week and I am so excited to read with you. So yeah, again, if you liked it, thumbs up, all that jazz. And until I see you all in the next video, I wish you happy reading.